But that was just, it's an extension of the road stuff, but you get to do it at home. And just talk about whatever. It's not necessarily basketball. It's just whatever is there. So that there's the business part of it, the work part of it, and then there's that personal where you just get to break bread and talk about life in those instances.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, we're gonna get started.
Yep.
We're gonna get started. Since we're getting started a little late, people.
Hey, are we missing somebody?
Jeff?
Is there a third?
Miss Jeffrey Iafrady, Mr. Everything. He is right now on the Morning Woodward show. So by the time you're seeing this, going to be later. We are going to film some special content. He does miss the people. He feels bad about missing out on Rod. We got things started a little bit late.
No, he doesn't.
He was like, man, I feel so bad about this, while he put on his shades, fluffed his hair back.
Exactly.
And he puts the hat on for us, and then he shows the hair for the Morning Woodward show.
And jumped in his Uber Black and went to the real studio. That's really what happened.
Like golf cart, man.
Right.
It just comes and picks him up. Oh, hey, self-driving, man. Autonomous.
So self-driving, then he gets in there and he wants his latte, spits it out. It's not hot enough. He's got to have more pumpkin spice in it. This guy.
Yeah. Jeff, man. You know what? Hey, shout out to Jeff, Mr. Everything. Keep climbing the ladder. He does. He works hard, but this is not gonna be the end of it, man. This is not gonna be the end of it. But yeah, all
right, let's go.
We're about to get it started. What up, though, people? It's your boy Detroit Kool-Aid for Woodward Pistons, man. And Jeff Iafrady, Mr. Everything. We're going to get this drum roll started. Hey, yo, shout out to the Legend Detroit News, Rod Beard. Brother, what up, though? How's it going this morning?
Hey, it's another Wednesday, man. I'm just blessed to be here. That's all I got for you today. Just happy to be here.
Happy to be here. You know what? I'm happy to be here too. We were talking a little bit before we went live, before we started to record, and I had a really, really good experience. You know, I know Mike Curtis. Shout out Mike Curtis, Pistons beat writer from the Detroit News. It was his first time at LCA covering an actual Pistons game as well, albeit preseason. And it was a really nice experience to be there, to get my first experience with the PR staff and with the other media that were there. And it was really, really cool to see how they all kind of just welcomed you, made sure that you were comfortable. First person from media that I saw there, Rod, James Edwards. That guy, you didn't tell me that in LCA, James hovers. He just floats around there, man. Like James is on different air.
I love it. Some days I think there's like secret compartments and secret trap doors that he goes through to get from one place to another, because he's sitting right there. You're in the media room, and then you turn around and you walk out to the court, and he's out on the court sitting down already. And it's like, come on, bro, you were just right next to me. We were just eating chicken wings a second ago, and now you're out on the court. And so we all kind of do that. You try to find your spots where you can sneak out and do something.
It's funny you say that, because he told me, he was like, you know what? You don't know where you're going, do you? I was like, nope. He was like, I could show you the regular way, but here, just come here.
Yeah.
Just cut down here, cut through these chairs, go up there, hop over that. You got the badge. You're okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's how it goes. And we walked over to the attendant. He was like, is he with you, James? He was like, actually, he's here. He's just here. He got his own badge. And I was like, man, thank you, James. He's like, yeah, he's just going to take my route.
He's his own man. That's how that works.
It was cool. And then, we get down to the media room, and all the guys, Amari, Vince Ellis, Vincent Goodwill, my homie Dave Logan, Mike Curtis, everybody just, it was a very, very, very warm welcome. Made sure that I knew where everything was. They definitely showed me that pregame spread.
Nothing like it. Nothing.
Man.
Brandon, let me tell you.
Is there another game tonight? No.
I mean, it is regarded as the best pregame spread in the league, and there is no second place. You can't even discuss that there's a second place in that competition.
It was amazing. They do it right.
If you don't do the pizza and the breadsticks and the wings on the one end, you got the carving station, you got James's favorite is the chicken tenders, and a full salad bar. It's not like lettuce and a couple of carrots and some breadsticks. It's a full salad bar. It's a full entree table. It is by far the best. And I'll say this, the Red Wings and the Tigers make you pay for your meal, your pregame meal. The Pistons give you that for free for 41 games, well, including the 2 preseason games too. All season, you're not paying for that. And I'll tell you this too, you got to watch, because you're going to put on some pounds. If you,
I'm gonna put it back on.
I'm so serious. For every day that you have a pork chop or a steak or whatever, you visit the salad bar and get some vegetables in that hookup too.
And look, I got the water with me too. I got it with me. And you know what's funny was Vince Ellis, man. Shout out to Vince Ellis. He's been messing with me since a long time ago, man. I remember when I first started kind of following the Pistons around a little bit on the road, and I caught up with him in Charlotte years ago. And since then, we've just had a unique relationship. But he introduced me to his new intern. I was like, "Hi, I'm Brandon Dent, Woodward Sports." He was like, No. This guy's Detroit Kool-Aid. And the intern's like, "Whoop." And I'm like, in my mind, like, I know you don't know what that is, but whatever. But the fact that Vince he's hyping it up, yo, I'm here for it. But then he's like, "You guys want to understand why I turned down the SAS? Because you guys know me." And I'm like, "What?" And they were like, me and Kool-Aid had an exchange where I was going in on another fan who was just, Vince was like, he doesn't get it, how many emails that we get. He's like, he's about to understand. So I was just done. I knew this particular troll, and I went off on him. And Kool-Aid came to defend him, as valiant as he is. And he was like, "Vince, you don't have to be such a jerk." He was like, since that day, he was like, I toned it down just for you guys. I was like, "Vince, first and foremost, now that we're down here, I am so sorry." Because I remembered that day. I remembered that interaction. Yeah. It was so funny, man. But he kind of just helped to make the mood very, very light, and the whole staff, everybody, all the media. It was a very, very awesome experience. I know I'm probably forgetting some other people that made sure to say hi, made sure to give some fist bumps. Shout out to Mr. Kevin Grigg. Definitely shout out to him. He's been very, very helpful throughout this process. Talked to me a lot at the Motor City Cruise tryouts as well, and made sure that I was comfortable, and told me, anything we need for the season, just reach out. So I do want to commend them on their professionality. I want to commend the Pistons and the other media on just their hospitality as well. It was a very, very, very positive thing, very humbling experience. So I was grateful to be a part of it.
No, Kevin Grigg, Cletus Lewis have been around. They're mainstays in the PR world and the Detroit PR world. I would say they're the best PR group of any of the pro sports or college sports even. They do it right, and they don't get enough. They in the voting for media stuff, they have a best PR group, and it's normally Golden State, and Golden State does just ridiculous stuff. I mean, they will call you when you're coming in on the road to San Francisco. They will call you and say, "Hey, here's what's going on. Here's the injury report today. Do you need restaurant recommendations or directions or anything else?" They will deliver your pregame packet with your game notes and stuff to you, to your hotel. It's insane. They have an intern or somebody on their staff that drives around and delivers your packet with your credential, your folder, all of your stuff to you. And it's like a pack of Skittles or a pack of M&Ms or something that when you're just in the middle of your work, you're like, "Dang, I need
just
something.
Need just a little bit of
I need something. Oh man, they put these M&Ms in here. Boom. And there you go. And
that's
so they do little things like that. Their people really take care of you. But the Pistons, as you said, are so professional in the way that they go about stuff, and they just look out for you. They do not get enough credit for the level of professionalism that they bring to the table.
And you know what I noticed? It breeds. It just kind of oozes into everybody else that was in that media room. It kind of sets a standard, and I like that. I like that approach. I didn't know if I was overdressed. I wanted to kind of.
Did you wear a tie?
Dress for business, and
did you wear a tie?
It was comfortable. I didn't wear a tie. I went in a polo, but I did have on some nice slacks.
All right, that's cool. That'll work.
Yeah.
Work.
I was like, "Hey, look, I can't go full suited up now, because then I'll feel like I'm stepping on, on some toes up there. I know Johnny Kane. That man's looking pretty dapper.
Oh, always.
He's looking pretty dapper. Yeah,
Jay Kane doesn't play around. Jay Kane does not play.
I was like, yo, he's here for business, man. Definitely here for business. But yeah, overall, it was a great experience. And yeah, man, your boy Mike Curtis, man, workhorse. Everybody was eating, laughing, having some fun. I'm looking around for my guy. We were texting before the game. He was like, yeah, we're definitely gonna link up. It's like, where you at? And I saw like every now and then, like the little bubbles, like, okay, so he's typing. Oh, wait. Now it went away. He's typing. And I look around the corner and he's like literally on his phone, then like typing, and then like on his phone, then back to his computer. I was like, Mike, he's like, oh, yeah, I was just about to hit you up. I'm like, I know. I like, bro, work. I respect what you're doing here.
Work first. And he's finding the medium between that stuff too. And there will be time to break bread and just eat and hang out with people. But you've got to, it's like working out, and you've got to get that muscle of being able to write.
Tell
and
the people so they know. There's a lot of aspiring people, aspiring beat writers, content creators, influencers, and such. Let them know. Let them know, Rod.
For some people, you can just sit down like if you're a professional musician, you can sit down at a piano and just go. But people don't look at the hours of work and practice that go into that. And in writing, it's the same thing. Is some people, I could just sit down and just start writing about whatever. It didn't matter. Like I was playing a piano. For some people who, if you have to start doing it every day on a beat, you have to exercise and get into a routine. You don't get up and just start running a marathon. You have to start running in short bursts, and you have to practice your writing and get into hey, I can sit down and I can write 3,000 words or whatever the number is that you're trying to get to. People don't just sit down and just start doing that. You have to get used to it and get in a rhythm. And that's what I've been doing. So since Mike has been there, is let's start working. Let's start doing, let's work on timing. Let's get this thing done in an hour or 2 hours or whatever the case is. Everybody can't do that. That is a developed skill to try to do. And for people who are trying to come up and trying to do that, yeah, you can sit down and you can write a blog post, or you can write a story on something. Now do it in 15 minutes. Now do it in only the fourth quarter of a game. Give me a game story and start in the fourth quarter, because that's really what people care about.
With minimal mistakes.
With
professionalism.
Right. With and hit all of the bases with that.
Opinions. Yep.
Now go to the locker room and get quotes. And those quotes, find me the 2 quotes that I need and have me that story in another 15 minutes. That's what this is really like in a beat writing for a newspaper, at least. That's what it's like. Time is a factor in all of that stuff. And it's not just go, I got 20 minutes or I got an hour or something to go back and work on this, and then it'll post overnight and people will see it in the morning. No, we got deadlines, bro. We got real deadlines that we got to hit. So that's kind of where Mike is now, is he's doing such a wonderful job in that. And I'm not just saying that. He really is doing a really good job of working in the forum.
I vouch for it. I've seen it in the flesh. I've gotten now a couple times professionally, being in a professional capacity, work environment with Mike. And for somebody just starting off, the one thing I want to do is encourage, and uplift. That's what I want to do. And for someone like Mike, he makes it extremely easy. You guys heard on previous episodes, and Rob was like, no, he was super qualified. Seeing him, kind of working, it's like, yeah, this guy is it. This guy's it. In terms of your Pistons coverage, he's going to bring something very, very unique to Pistons media landscape, with just how dedicated he is, with how thorough he is. And Rod, you told me one of the more important things is protect the relationships that you have the opportunity to make. And Mike is a great person. I can say that already. I know I haven't known him long, but he's a great person. And I believe in this industry, as I'm kind of just getting started in it as well. You recognize how important being a good person and being good to other people is. And that's what Mike is. You get that from his persona. So, hey, Mike, shout out to you, man. I hope your season goes well. I will definitely be reading everything, and whenever I'm making a graphic, Rod, I'm looking at you guys first. Whenever I'm looking at you guys, man. So yeah, I know Media Day, we made sure to go on ahead and get a couple things from Mike and Rod. And I love the fact that you got him kind of trained up in the way that you did things too. It's pretty cool the way he gets out his content as well.
Yeah,
it's very thorough. So listen, guys, if you're looking to consume as much Pistons content as you can, check out our local media. check out Woodward Sports and Woodward Pistons. Check out Detroit News. Check out what Mike Curtis is doing. Rod held it down for years, and the baton has been handed off, and I think it's handed off to somebody more than qualified. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Hey, people, I think you're here for Pistons basketball, and they fell to the Thunder last night. Let me see here. I had it fell to the Thunder 115-99. They started off much better in this preseason game than I believe they did the first two. They were leading at halftime 57-54, led by their big three, or what I would consider to be their big three, Killian Hayes, Cunningham, and Saddiq Bey.
Hold up.
Listen, I knew
that
was gonna happen.
Hold up. You said big three and Killian Hayes. Hold up. I'm about to be in the comments myself. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you know I caught that, but go ahead. Do you got
it. Listen. What I meant to say is like the big three, not including like this draft class.
No,
like
it's too late. It's too
coming
late.
into the season.
Hit in the comments. Hit him in the comments. Killian Hayes, big three. Hit him in the comments.
Oh my goodness. Listen.
Oh, so you only got two more to put in your big three. Tell me.
I'm looking into the camera, guys. I firmly believe that the big two is Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. From everything that I'm seeing,
Saddiq's not your big two. Oh man.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Okay, go ahead. You got it. It's on you.
Oh man. All right.
Every word matters. Every word matters. Let's go.
Cunningham is my number one, and Saddiq Bey and Jaden Ivey are tied for two for my big three. And Killian Hayes, he's making me proud.
Here we go.
But listen. The big three of the first half last night.
Clip
of
that.
The game last night.
Whoever's producing this, clip that. Big three, Killian Hayes. Clip it. Clip it.
I'm about to be gotten. I already know it. It's gonna be floating out there, and I'm just gonna be sitting here like, oh my goodness.
That's all I need. Big three, Killian Hayes. Boom. That's it. Cut it.
They each had 8 points in the first half last night. They all had 8 points. Look, Cade, Saddiq, Killian. I know that there's been a lot of talk about their play. Killian has, I think, more than the other two, have fans feeling a little bit more happy, a little bit more pleased with his performance. Fans are a little bit cautiously optimistic, I think, with Cade Cunningham. You hear some fans that are starting to complain, but I feel like he's a notorious slow starter, and there's something unique going on here, and we'll get to that with Troy, what Coach Casey said last night in the press conference as well. But Saddiq Bey as well, I believe his game, the style of game he plays, at least for right now, is one that looks like he's working on trying to handle the rock and get to the rim. Mm-hmm. It looks like everything is like a dribble drive to the rack. Not that he didn't shoot threes when it presented itself. There were sets that put him out there around the arc, and he was knocking them down. But it looked like, obviously his efficiency numbers are going to take a little bit of a hit, just because he's trying different things, and Cade Cunningham too. These guys, they're not. There were large stretches where Saddiq Bey would go 1, 2, 3 plays in a row right to the rim. Mm-hmm. There were large stretches where Cade Cunningham would go 1, 2, 3 plays in a row and put his back to the rim, back down, and try and do the half hook. A couple times he got a and one on it. Maybe 3, 4 other times I noticed he missed it, but it wasn't by much. You can tell it's something he's working on and trying to get comfortable with. And so preseason is something that, and this is what I said, what Coach Casey was talking about last night. He said, this is the exhibition season. We are trying to work on things. We are practicing, we are training, we are teaching, and we are going out on the court, and we're trying to execute. Mm-hmm. And so you have fans who are reacting to what they're seeing on the court. They're reacting to the low efficiency numbers. They're reacting to some of the low output. And when I look at the game just from a pair of basketball eyes, it looks like almost like an extended practice, like Coach Casey has continued to say throughout. Not that there aren't things that you can criticize or critique. But as it relates to Cade Cunningham and Saddiq Bey, they're up and down. For Saddiq Bey, it's more or less the efficiency hasn't been there. For Cade Cunningham, more or less the output and overall numbers. Can you please tell the people what your level of alarm, caution, or lack thereof is, and why?
All right, let me think back to Sadiq's start to last season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think back to Sadiq's start to his rookie year. Okay, got it. Let me think back to Cade's start to last season. And how did they all kind of finish? Yeah, I'm on my concern level is like a 1, maybe a 2.
It's Cade Cunningham and Sadiq Bey, people.
It will round itself out, and don't worry about it. Don't worry about it yet. I'll say that again. I think I said it last week and the week before. Don't worry about it yet. It's nothing. Is the same people that want to be excited about Killian, if they're the same people who want to overreact about Cade, knock yourself out, because you need to have something to worry about. Those are the constant worriers. I'm not worried about it. I'm more excited about Killian is showing that in preseason, and Sadiq and Cade have a body of work that tells me they're more likely to do that than Killian is to continue what he's doing in the preseason. So don't be excited about one and not be realistic about the other two also. So I mean, there's no concern level with me about whether they're starting slow or they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. For this is like a preliminary AAU type game for Cade. What is going out and dropping 25 going to do for him right now? Nothing. Doesn't matter. Nothing. Same thing for Sadiq.
Nothing. And you know what? I was writing my pregame. I was writing my pregame report, my pregame article, and I had a section that I actually pulled out because I want to explore it more. I actually want to deep dive more, and it's the connection between Cade Cunningham and Marvin Bagley. And that's something we also have to touch on. Marvin Bagley did go down last night. Coach Casey said in the press conference that there's no update right now. He did say he felt bad because Marvin Bagley was looking forward to really, really getting busy last night in the game. So, prayers up, prayers and thoughts. And hopefully everything is okay with Marvin Bagley and his leg. I couldn't tell if it was like lower leg, knee, or whatnot, but hopefully he's going to be okay. But I pulled this section out because I wanted to deep dive it more, and I think it should be more of a full length, more of like a series. Because I believe that Cade Cunningham, when Marvin Bagley got to this team, is where we actually saw Cade Cunningham take another step. He was still decent before Marvin Bagley got here when I look at the numbers. But when he got here and he had that lob threat, that rim runner, that pick and roll guy, for some reason, he had a certain chemistry with him. Not that Jalen Duren can't be that guy as well, but right off the bat, you saw a certain chemistry between Cade Cunningham and Marvin Bagley. And I was looking forward to seeing that last night. So it's unfortunate that he went out. But then again, when he did, it showed glaringly something that I believe the Pistons are lacking, and that's pick and roll chemistry. And that's to be understood. Jalen Duren is still young and raw. Isaiah Stewart doesn't necessarily have the leaping ability. So these are some of the things from just a basketball standpoint, from just the old coach in me, the old, playing basketball X's and O's in me. When I'm looking out at the court, that's the thing that I noticed. The most glaring thing of preseason has been there's been low pick and roll opportunities called for Cade Cunningham and Marvin Bagley. And I'm hoping that that's something that the Pistons are looking at. I believe they are, or else Jalen Duren wouldn't have been, in my opinion, somebody they looked at so high. They said Sean Kemp. Imagine those types of pick and rolls when he actually gets all of the different fundamental aspects of setting a pick, rolling correctly, knowing where to lob. There was a couple times he put his hand up, but I don't think he understood. You have to kind of seal out a little bit better than you are. And those are things that are young player type stuff. That's the rookie type stuff. Even though we believe in these guys, Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivan, even Sadiq Bey and Cade Cunningham and Killian Hayes, they're still young players learning the nuances to not just basketball, but the NBA game at a pro level, at a serious level. But that Marvin Bagley, Cade Cunningham, and that need for pick and roll, what has been your take on that? I'm again unfortunate we weren't able to see it because Cade Cunningham has done something very, very well throughout the preseason, and that's the secondary stats. If he's not assisting well, he's getting rebounds. If he's not rebounding well, he's getting assists, despite what the scoring might be. But last night, his assists were noticeably down. with the pick and roll game being something that they just could not get going.
Yeah, and I don't know how much they're going to show a pick and roll in the preseason either of kind of things that they want to do and what the actions are coming off of that.
Right.
But just having that option of a guy. And the other piece of that is when you can put Bagley out to the 3-point line and he's a threat. He's a passing option. And that clears things out for K to be able to drive and to create more in the paint. And he can kick it out to a guy like that. With Duren, you want him close to the rim. And so if you put him out at the 3-point line, you're just inviting that defender to cheat down if K drives. So I think that's part of the difference with Bagley is that at least he's a dual threat that you can see him taking that three when you drive and get in the paint that way.
You just said something that, and I tweeted this last night too. Man, I'm so glad you stated that. Without the goodness, that's what it was. I stated this last night. The defense continued to pinch at the top of the keys on the elbows every time Cunningham went to try and make his dives off pick and rolls, or when he would, his little hesitation that he does the in and out, and he can either get it to the left or the right. Man, they kept pinching him right at the top. Not a true double team, just a show, and then right back to the shooter. And I was like, whoa. If we don't have that inside presence, and I'm glad you set a little perspective to it, because again, Casey said they're working on specific things. Pick and roll is not something that they're going to do. They know that they can do that. That's bread and butter. So I get that. And that's why I was like, man, why aren't they doing it in preseason? I'm glad that you added that perspective into it. But without it there, the OKC defense was able to effectively just, for a lack of a better term, form an effing wall. Shout out to Stan Van Gundy. And they just did that. It was the defender here guarding Cade. There was a center or a big man just behind him, kind of roaming back and forth, either block, depending on which side Cade Cunningham was on. And I noticed that the wings were just noticing if Cade Cunningham is going to kind of dive off to the right or dive off to the left or come off of the screen this way or that way, just show. Just step back, pinch it, and Cade Cunningham would have to turn right back around and come up. They weren't doing that as much to Killian Hayes. It seemed to be something that they were specifically doing to Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham. I didn't see it much against Killian Hayes.
Because I think you're not as worried about Killian getting in the paint and trying to finish. He hasn't shown that he wants to do that a lot. Right. But when Jaden and Cade get in there, they're trying to finish in the paint, and they have a different ability maybe than Killian does. Killian's going to try to hit that lefty floater if he gets in the paint, but he's not going to stop on a dime and try to shoot that mid-range J. So yeah, that's an astute observation is how they're defending that. And if you're not doing it in pick and roll, and the pick and roll for Cade has to come in different spots. There were more when he was kind of on the wing and more toward the baseline when he's trying to do it that way. So that backside help has to come from the opposite sideline. And again, there's a difference when you have Bagley in that corner versus Duren in that corner, or even Stewart now. If he's your five, you can do some different stuff. So the thing to watch there is the positioning and who's in that opposite corner and who's in that opposite wing, because those are the kick options that K is going to have if he's diving in from that baseline, from that bottom spot on the offense.
Yeah, and they shot it decently from three. They started off the first half from three. First quarter, I believe, like 41.5% from three. They look good. They had a commanding first quarter lead, and the offense looked smooth without Bojan, and Marvin Bagley went down early. So those are two key pieces that you would think would have affected the 3-point game negatively, but the Pistons continued to plug right along. Killian Hayes, Corey Joseph, what does Mason call him? Rodney Mack. Shout out Rodney Magruder and others continue to hit the three. A couple observations that I want to point out here. We criticized them for the turnovers, and Coach Casey also stated pregame and other times the turnovers are something they want to get down. It plagued them last season, so it is something that they're taking serious as it relates to preseason. It is one of the things that they're looking at. But individually, some guys did get their individual turnovers down. You want to still get less than 15 turnovers this game, but they forced more turnovers this game than they coughed up, which is a huge, significant improvement. Man, they had 42 turnovers, averaging 21 turnovers a game coming into this game. So I saw there was a couple careless turnovers, and then there was a couple turnovers that looked like from Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham that just looked like strength. They could have went either way. Like fans were like, Cunningham got fouled, and they just They just didn't call it for preseason. Hey, I like it. Get your weight up type of thing. I like it. So that's something I wanted to commend. They seem to play a little bit more composed. They didn't seem as sped up or as erratic. The turnovers they did have seemed to be a couple careless passes here and there on inlet passes where Jalen Duren or someone didn't seal or the pass just wasn't, just enough. But I did want to say that they took a step in the right direction there, but you want to see more. You definitely want to see more. Was there anything else that stuck out from the game before we get into Isaiah Stewart and Killian Hayes? They impressed me last night in some more specific ways, and we'll get into that.
No, I think just the people will say, I've seen on Twitter, people say Corey Joseph is trash and he doesn't need to play and he's not going to get once Alec Burks comes back, he's not going to see very much. You see the benefit of just having a Corey Joseph and just having a Rodney Magruder just being there. It's not just the vet experience. It is those guys can come in and hit a shot when you need a shot. In the first half, Corey from 3. People think that 40% last year is a fluke. That dude can shoot. That dude can just flat out shoot.
Hold on. Say that again, bro. What percent last year?
40.
Sheesh.
From 3.
Man, we missed that in our player reviews this summer. We need to go back and do a player review on Corey Joseph before the season begins.
Let me make sure, but I'm pretty sure it was like 40.
I know he was hitting at a high clip last year.
41.4% from 3 last year.
Dang, Rod, you cheated him out of 1.4%.
I mean, once you're at 40, it doesn't even matter anymore. You're talking about Clay, Steph,
3 or 5 last night.
And a couple of people, but that's the threat that you need. And if people want to say that they aren't shooting the 3 well, when he comes in and Magruder comes in and he starts banging them down, it doesn't matter who's hitting them at that point. You're just you want somebody in a Pistons uniform to be hitting a 3. That's it. Yeah. So people want it to be from certain people, and you're gonna look at Cade and say 0 of 5 and say that's disappointing. He's starting slow. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be Cade every day. If it's Cade every day, then you have bigger fish to fry. You got bigger problems if your other guys aren't developing or contributing the way that you need them to.
You know what Cade didn't do any of last night? Any of, like in the preseason, bro? And we talk about the fact that we think he's one of the better players at this. No mid-range. I noticed like it's specifically like I'm shooting a 3 or I'm going all the way into the paint. He started off the New York Knicks game, going right into the paint, trying to battle against Jalen Brunson. He did the same thing the next game against the Pelicans. And last night, he did the same thing. It was either, hey, I'm shooting a good look at a 3, or I'm working on getting to the rack. I'm working on getting into the paint. I'm working on being able to take people one-on-one off the dribble. I saw that last night. Couple and ones off of it, too. There was a couple plays where the ball rimmed out, and I was like, it's still a good move. He just has to get that little bit more up on the shot. And I like what I'm seeing from Cade Cunningham. And this is just to add perspective, people. Some of these guys are not playing their regular style of games, and they're not calling the regular style of offense that's gonna be peak effective.
We got to find something to worry about, Brandon. There needs to be something to complain about in the preseason. They're 0-3. If they go 0-3, they're going to go 0-82 in the season.
Look, this is the one thing I will say. And you know what? Coach Casey talked about it too. I remarked about it. Mike and I talked about it at halftime, and we said, you know what? This might be something from preseason to take as a concern. It's the perimeter defense. They had a hard time defending the pick and roll. Now, bro, when Cade Cunningham was out there, his defense was phenomenal. And watch nobody talk about that. His defense last night was phenomenal. I'm talking about blocks, steals. They were like deflections that they don't count as blocks, but they're effectively blocks. He was good. Killian Hayes was good. After that, defensively from the guards, it got bleak. The defense, the big men, Duren, perimeter defense. Wow, man, like a baby Stewart out there on the perimeter. Hey, we're gonna get to Stewart.
That dude, Duren is going to be good.
He was good on the perimeter, man, defending. I liked it, but the guards, and Coach Casey talked about it. He said the cuts, the pick and rolls, all of that. He said there's just no excuse for that. We have to be better. We can't. That will plague us all season. and it will put a lot of pressure on their defenders, on their backcourt, on their front court.
Yeah.
Their bigs are going to get a lot of fouls. And when you looked at the personal fouls list, you see Jalen Duren with 5. You see Isaiah Stewart with 4. You can't have that, especially if Marvin Bagley, starts off the season a little hobbled. Now Jalen Duren is somebody who's going to be depended on to have to be that backline anchor. And boy, do I like the prospects of that, because he looked good, man. He was deterring shots, though he didn't get a block last night. And you saw teams kind of kind of fade away from his side of the court if it was a drive to the rim or something of the nature. But the perimeter defense from the wings and the guards, Sans, Killian Hayes and Cade Cunningham, it is making me a little bit concerned.
And that's going to happen. You're going to see that with Corey to some degree, is that he might score for you, but defensively he's just going to have to try his hardest, and you still might be able to get by him. That's to your point about the front court too, that with Nerlens not there, if you have to depend on Stewart and Duren and you don't know when Bagley is coming back, that's a little concerning. But I would think Nerlens gets back probably within the next couple of weeks. I don't think you're going to be well into the season trying to deal with just 2 big men that you're moving around there. But that it's preseason, people. Just take a chill, and be all right.
Now, I do want to commend, because we are looking at specific things here, and our players working on specific things. And like Coach Casey said, we're looking at the steps people are taking on at that. Things we're asking them to do, and that was a theme of our summer. What are you asked to do?
Mm-hmm.
I said I wanted to see Isaiah Stewart be a presence in the middle defensively. Look, I don't think he needs to score. I believe that there are a lot of guys. I think he needs to be ready to score. He needs to be capable and able to score. But similar to Ben Wallace, and I'm not saying I think he has a better offensive game than Ben Wallace, but similar to the role Ben Wallace played, I believe that there are times where you can just start the game going to Isaiah Stewart and then know if he gets a couple buckets here, he's finding his way to 10 points just based on how he plays.
Mm-hmm.
But I was impressed with his inside play. I was thoroughly impressed with his inside play. I mean, challenging everything. He was going after a lot of rebounds. They collapse on him when he's in the game, especially when he's going after trying to limit second chance points and things of that nature for the other team. Sometimes it seems like they'll collapse or try to make sure he's hedged out of there, and other people come in and grab that. But he's a bully. He had 3 blocks last night. He had a steal. I thought he had 2 steals, but I guess they just called it deflection. I thought he had 4 blocks too. But one of them, I believe they called a foul on. The other one, I think, again, it's just not showing up in the box score. But 3 blocks, big presence inside. He didn't overshoot the ball. 3 of 5. He did not venture out to beyond the 3-point arc yesterday, and it looked like that was by design, based on the fact that the guards from OKC kept getting into the middle. On the other side, it seemed like by design because of the way that the team was playing. They were playing a style where your shooters are in the corner and your pick and roller was rolling into the paint every single time. They would also hedge on a pick and roll that they would try to do with Duren. If B. Stu was in the game or another player was at the 4, they would run a pick and roll. Duren would roll to the paint, but the other big would hedge up or and I had this in the notes, would flash up from the opposite block and feel kind of that mid-range, almost as if they could get a pick and pop or kind of follow back behind the roller who was cutting to the rim.
Yeah, after Bagley went out, Stewart didn't play the 4. He only played 5, and after that. Right. So I think that's part of the strategic sort of thing too with that is, but that's the luxury that you have with Stewart, is that you need him to play 5. Okay, well, he can play 5 and it's not going to hurt anything. It might affect his 3-point attempts like we saw, but they can still figure out other ways. He can play that 4 spot in a specific set if you need him to just to get that shot off.
I wasn't mad at it though. I wasn't mad at the lack of 3-point attempts. He just looked big, and people in the arena, you could hear people talking about that. People thought he had like 5 or 6 blocks. He just looked determined. It didn't look like he was really thinking about too much except for just playing the game. I didn't see him looking frustrated or angry or mad or trying too hard or anything. He's a guy that I told you guys, this is my X factor to the Pistons, not just this season, but long term. I want to see him really, really, really lock down that front court spot. because I see that determination that he's bringing every single game that he steps out on the court. And now that he's beginning to refine his game, it's starting to make me a little bit excited about what he can offer to the Pistons, as long as he continue to take the steps forward offensively and defensively. Obviously,
Yep.
these guys are still young, still learning, still growing. But I liked what he brought in the paint overall from a defensive standpoint. Killian Hayes, 20
Big three. Big three. Big three.
Troy Weaver's first draft pick ever as Detroit Pistons general manager. So hey, look. We got to put some respect. Until Jaden Ivey plays his first regular season game, I'll keep Killian Hayes in that big three. But game one, we got to put Jaden. No, I'm just look. Killian Hayes, man, he had a big game last night, man. 20 points, 7 assists. He had a rebound, 4 or 6 from 3, and most importantly, Coach Casey talked about it. You heard fans talking about it. You saw social media light up about it. Killian Hayes wasn't lying when he said on media day, and he's continued to say in his press conferences, confidence and aggression, confidence and aggression, confidence and aggression. He just keeps saying that. I want to almost hear him say it in French now, just get the tattooed on you somewhere, because that's exactly what I saw. It's not just aggressiveness. You see some guys come out at times when they're pressing and they're aggressive, but they're not confident, and it just has a weak result in the end. It just lackluster. But with Killian Hayes last night, that game face stuff that we talked about seeing last season, sometimes the whole entire game, Rod, the whole entire game that he was playing, it was there. I see a different swag out of him. I see a different walk around the court out of him. Even with his handles, man, even with his handles, there would be times in the past where you would see Killian Hayes get the pass at the top of the key and instantly swing the ball or one dribble, hand off to somebody. But now you see him get the ball and you see him think, I can take this guy. You see him do a little shimmy, a little crisscross, a little shake, a little move the defense a little bit. These are the things that I was hoping we would get out of Killian Hayes when we were looking at his tapes in France. And we talked about this. We believe that the ability was there because we saw him do it. It wasn't like it was lacking in these games in large part because the skill wasn't there. We saw him do it sometimes, but we all noticed one thing, that confidence. When someone will push him or get up in his jersey, some of the nature, then all of a sudden we see Killian start to activate that mode. Now, you fast forward to this season where you see a little bit more strength, a little bit more muscle, a little bit more definition. He looks, I don't know how, he just looks a little bit smaller, but more cut, just more firm. Yeah. He looks faster with the ball in his hands this year in person than I remember seeing last season. And he just looks more determined. Yep. That's one thing that I'm hoping that Killian Hayes continues even in the regular season when teams start to say, hey, let's try and take away some of his pet moves. Let's try and force him into some of his cold zones. Because Killian Hayes is not Corey Joseph. Corey Joseph may be able to come in to steady the ship sometimes, play some minutes, to spell some guys. And he's a pro. He's a pro's pro, as George Blauer put it. Killian Hayes is somebody that's supposed to be, he's not in the big three anymore. He's a guy that
he was.
I love you, Rod.
45 minutes ago, my man was in the big three. You got kicked out that quick? Man.
He's a guy that we're going to depend on, though. He's a guy the Pistons are going to depend on. They're going to need this guy to play heavy minutes and to really, really be able to steady the ship in those 3-guard rotations that I'm hoping we see with Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, and Killian Hayes. It's going to be very, very important that Killian Hayes is up to par. So to me, it's very, very important that we see this type of stuff out of Killian Hayes and that this is who we get the entire season. When you're talking about year 4, we know that Troy Weaver picked up the contracts, the options on all these players going into year 3. When you're talking about the decisions that you have to make, Killian Hayes and Isaiah Stewart, to me, they're the most interesting men on this whole entire roster. Despite contracts having to be, decisions having to be made or not, I believe those 2 players are the most interesting players on the roster. And they look like guys who've been told, go out here and improve your mettle. Go out here, have your confidence. And I don't think that the team is doing it from a standpoint of, hey, we're trying to evaluate you. It feels like the team has done it from a standpoint of, we believe in you. Go out there and work. Get anything, don't look over your shoulder or anything of that nature. Just go out there and work. And I love that from Troy Weaver. It's not just the sense has never been that it's just business with Troy Weaver. People say, oh, you get traded, it's just business. No, throughout the whole Jeremy Grant trade, we realized this was, hey, we're going to try and personally also accommodate Jeremy Grant as well as get the best for the Pistons. But the Pistons are number one. And then we're going to try and accommodate the player as much as we can. And so, it was awesome to kind of hear him kind of put things this way. I do want to bring you in, get your perspective on Killian Hayes and his performance, what you believe he will be this season. I know we can only take so much away from the preseason, but Casey said he has big hopes and big beliefs for Killian Hayes. And that last night, what was this quote, man? Did you hear the quote that he had?
No, I did not.
Let me see here. Let me get this. He said last night, Killian Hayes' give a crap level was high.
Yeah. So here's what I think, and I think I said this last week or at some point, that when Killian starts playing well, it's in clumps of games. It's not here's 15 points and then come back the next game with 2 or 3 or 5. Generally, his games are clumped together when he starts to play well, and that confidence sort of just starts to rise and continues. And I think we're starting to see that now. That last night, what I saw was he's not a catch and shoot 3 guy by any stretch of the imagination. And that man just caught a couple and was just like,
Talk about it.
These are flying. These are going. So it's like me when I get in the gym and I hit that first 3, that next one that you get to me, it's no dribbles. That's just going up. It's flying. And so I think seeing that from him tells you where his level of confidence is. But then also it is when he's getting in the paint, he's doing something with it. And I'm going to the rack. I'm trying to get the foul. I'm trying to get to the free throw line. Whatever will help this get activated. The thing that the confidence piece and just trying to attack the defense. But what I like too is 7 assists, 1 turnover. You can talk about Cade and his turnover numbers and however you want to. 7 assists, 1 turnover. Even if you're not good at math, that's a 7-to-1 ratio. You take it every time. And he's going defensively, he's going to bring a different aggressiveness to it. But I like that they're looking at that and saying, hey, we can run Cade, Jaden, and Killian as a 3-guard offense. If Killian moves to the 3 per se, in that the offense, the spot in the offense, not necessarily the position. If he does that, we're still good. You still got a 6'6" guy who's running the 3 for you. That just that's the versatility that I think you want to see. And if Killian is taking baby steps here or bigger steps even than that, it's just all to the good. And I'm excited to see what he can do with Jalen Duren as a pick and roll and a lob option. As much as Cade can benefit from that, Killian maybe
can pass that thing, bro.
Maybe even more because you have a developing big guy. We saw some Killian and Bagley stuff last year in that second unit. If you start to see some Killian Duren stuff, it could get real interesting.
Yeah, Killian can pass. The thing that I love is that with his rising confidence, you see him doing more of the things you know he can do. And his interior passing, by that, whenever you hear me say that, people, it's the passing that a guard or a big makes in the paint when they get into the paint. Killian is able to slip the ball to a big right next to him between 2 defenders. And I'm just like, man, he's really good at this. And there was a couple times when he went into the paint, and I believe he's about to turn the ball over. There's no way he's going to hit anybody. He's found a way to hit the shooter. And like the shooter that was open, like across the court, it's just like, how is he seeing this? He has a gift. And when you know sets and things of that nature, you understand it takes a high level of basketball IQ and high level of knowing your plays, knowing your sets, knowing where your guys are going to be, almost like a quarterback throwing to his wide receiver. Killian Hayes throws the ball like he knows his players are going to be there. And we talked about this. We remarked about this. One of his best assets or skill sets is his ability to put the ball in a shooter's pocket. I want to look at the amount of what's it called? The field goal percentage, the 3-point percentage of players that he's passing to. The guys that are making threes off passes from Killian Hayes. I'm going to look at that as well. That's another article I was going to look at because it just seems like people are making threes. They make their shots when he's passing the ball, and it speaks to the tune of 7 assists, man. There were a lot of good passes that Cunningham made. Sucks absorbs in the gravity. Threes didn't go in, and it makes a difference. But for whatever reason, that pass that Killian is putting out there, these little things, I think they do make huge differences.
No, and it's been documented also that Dwayne Casey will say he doesn't like guys throwing one-handed passes, and that is largely aimed at
one
Killian.
guy got a pass, pun intended.
Yeah, but that's the Killian on that hook pass and on the two-handed pass across the court diagonally. He just has that down when he gets in the paint. And what's going to open that up more is if he gets in the paint and he's able to at least attack the rim, he's going to get that extra defender who's coming over, and that's going to open up something else. In those rotations, you've got to protect that strong side. It opens up something on the weak side, and he has that innate ability to find that guy on the weak side. The more he can do that, to your point, the more those threes that are going to start falling in, because you can't protect everything on every side of the court.
You can't. And what with the confidence of Killian Hayes, what it's allowing the Pistons to do is extend their offensive drives, their offensive plays. They're able to utilize the entire 24 and give themselves an opportunity at a second chance shot and utilize the whole 24 and get a good shot. When you have 2-3 ball handlers on the court that can make dives, when you think about it last year, there were times when Killian just wasn't attacking those corners. We saw Cade doing it and getting into the paint with great success, especially as the season went on. Killian, to be fair, he did show it towards the last end of that season, like last year. Towards the end of last year, he had a good stretch. But this year, with his confidence kind of on 10, he just seems to catch the ball sometimes on the wing when he's, coming across the baseline, catches the ball on the wing. You see him almost dart in first and then step back if it's not there. You see him almost saying, "No, I'm gonna try this at least this time." What that does for your offense when you're doing those swings, the Pistons had a couple of these possessions last night. Swing the ball, swing the ball, swing the ball. Guard can now dive. If the guard that's replacing up top, that's going to get the ball, cannot also shake his man and get in or take advantage off of athleticism or speed, all he can do is pass it to another person that's potentially going to be guarded or defended. But when he can also then dive in, the whole defense is going to gravitate to this player, and it's going to open up the shooters. And they did it a couple times, man, where it looked like Cade Cunningham or the off guard, they had the ball first, they ran a pick and roll, Killian would replace up top, Cade or the whoever he would pass to would get it right back to Killian, and he wouldn't wait. He would just start to do his shimmy and get right into the paint, get right into that mid range, and then there's two guys wide open for threes. Then they're able to throw it to a corner, pump fake, swing it around the horn, wide open shot. Yeah, it was beautiful basketball.
And that's what you want to see. And you spoke about Killian's confidence being at a high right now. That was what was said too, is that at point guard, people aren't going to get it necessarily in the first year or the second year. It might take them some time to really, your elite level guys are going to get it almost immediately, but second year, third year, and Killian had been through so many injuries, and the number of games he played. How many has he played in his career? 92.
In 92 years, barely a season.
90, and it was 66 last year. So that's not even a full season, but he's played 10 games more than a full NBA year. So he's starting to piece it together, and him just being healthy is going to have a huge impact on his growth. If he can just stay healthy and play 20 straight games, 30 straight games, and get into a good rhythm with that, that'll make a big difference in his growth too.
I like your perspectives on this. I really do. I'm just looking through the box score some more, just to see if anything else jets out at me. I was going to talk about Jaden Ivey to close. Obviously the efficiency you would want to see better in terms of his shooting. But, 0 for 3 from 3, I'm not going to crash the efficiency that much. When Jaden Ivey was getting to the rack, good things were happening. When he was dribbling and driving, good things were happening. I'm excited about Jaden Ivey. I really am. He had 11 points last night, 4 of 12 shooting, 0 for 3 from 3, 3 or 4 from the free throw line. I think the one he missed is kind of rimmed out. He's been money at the free throw line, and I believe he and Sadiq Bey may lead this team in free throws. We were talking about what is this team going to do this year, where they're going to get the free throws, and I believe Jaden Ivey is going to be somebody elite in this league at drawing free throws and getting to the foul line. But
Mhm.
his speed and his athleticism continues to be something that the defense can't seem to keep up with. And as his offensive game continues to mature, I look forward to it. I believe his finishing is something that I want to see a little bit more out of. And not that he can't finish at the rim, but I talked about this a couple of times. He burst to the rim and he did this from the baseline a couple of times. And I'm like, he's about to dunk on somebody. He's about to lay up. And then he just passed it to an open player.
Yeah.
To an open player. It wasn't, it was a good pass, but I'm just like, Jaden Ivey, dude, dunk that, shoot that, do something with that. Because he's up there. We remarked about it. It's amazing. Like, I'm not even hating on it. I don't even think he knows. Like, when he sees it on tape, I'm hoping he realizes. A couple Purdue fans who follow our channel now because of Jaden Ivey being a Piston, they did say that. We mentioned it on one of our shows, and they said, yeah, he'll get into that rim, and we just assume he doesn't understand. He's right there.
Mm-hmm.
He's right there.
He's right there, and I think that's going to subside after a bit when he realizes, and as you said in film sessions, that's going to stop. And in case he's going to say, finish the shot. We don't unless you're kicking out for somebody to hit a three. That's the only way that's going to mean more. Like, obviously, we'll take 3 over 2, but if you're right there, then just make the shot. Just go with it.
But Rob, people say all the time, will these guys' games translate to the NBA? Has Jaden Ivey looked like he's looked in college? It looks like it's translated. If not, a few things that I didn't know he could do, a few extra things. He's getting right to the rim, just like we said he was going to be able to. We said, look, we think this skill set will translate. His speed is elite. It's not like college is chopped liver. You know what I mean? Like, come on. He was playing against some pretty solid defenders as well. And he's come right into the NBA. And though he has to polish his game, obviously as a rookie, his speed and his athleticism has just put him in an extreme position to succeed. I can't wait, like I said, and like you noted, get on film, sit down, look at it all, and start to finish these things. Because last night, that to me is a difference between if he's shooting 50% versus if he's shooting, 25%.
Right, and that's the difference too. Is there were a couple where he just got the ball on the wing and just got by his defender, and it was ball game. And he just laid it up, and it was an easy lay. It's just those, you're not going to get very many of those from Corey Joseph. He's and I'm serious. He's going to vet his way to it. An old man LA Fitness or whatever gym. He can get to the rim in a different way.
Yeah,
but with him, it is just very much, hey, I'm faster than you. I just made this move and I got in the lane and I'm already by you. And there's nothing you can do about it. So a few more of those a game make a difference. And so just having that talent, that skill set on the court is going to be important.
Yep. I liked what he brought last night. Like I said, nothing that we haven't seen yet, but him continuing every time he steps out on the court, whether it be summer league, whether it be the open practice, whether it's training camps and practices or the preseason games, he's continuing to have his game translate. He's continuing to show my skill sets are going to be able to be utilized at this level as well. That's something that Piston fans should be looking at and taking away from preseason. These are things you should be looking at. Do they look like NBA players? Jalen Duren and Jaden Ivey look like solid NBA players already. And these are guys who we were one of those. Jalen Duren going to have to spend some time in the G League. Okay, Jalen Duren last night, again, double-digit rebounds in 24 minutes. We asked, can he give us the Drummond with a little bit more offensive IQ to start his career off? 5 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. Would have liked to see a block. There was a couple deflections that I thought should have been blocks. He's not out there trying to look for his. He's playing within the flow of the offense, and this is what people said they wanted from Drummond. They didn't say that they didn't like Drummond. They said that they wanted him to play more to his strengths. And man, what can you say? Jaden Ivey again, 11 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds. You want to see those turnovers come down. He had 4. One was offensive rebound. One was a pass that he threw that was good, but since the defender didn't catch it, the offensive player didn't catch it, it went to him. So 2 of those, you know.
Yeah.
But you want to see that turnover get down. Those guys look like NBA guys, man. NBA players. They look good.
Yeah, I'm not worried about any of that stuff. It really is, and maybe that's just me. Maybe that's my nature that I don't get too caught up on anything in the preseason, and you just want to see incremental steps more so
Right.
than you want to see things that you make these big judgments about and say, "Oh, well, he's trash," or "He's not going to be able to do this or
Mm-hmm.
this." Come on, man. Just give people an opportunity to figure stuff out,
Yep.
and is it? I'm not worried about it.
I was
I'll just leave it at that. I'm not
I
worried
was
about
going to close, but with what you just stated, and I'm looking at Sadiq Bey's stat line, I'm like, you know what? There should be nobody complaining about his efficiency from last night's game, and this is important. The one thing that people talk about with Sadiq Bey, and they're starting to notice an aspect of a trend, is this. He is going to be a volume 3-point shooter. He's a guy, when you look back at the end of the season, you're going to say, yes, he's made a lot of threes and taken a lot of threes, but people talk about either his streakiness or his efficiency, right?
it. Mhm.
So, though you want him to be more consistent for a 3-point shooter that is streaky or that is comes in waves, if the consistency is not something that's there right now, though they're going to work on it, the other aspect that you want this player to work on
Mhm.
is their all-around game. And that's what I see out of Sadiq Bey. They're taking this guy from the arc of, oh, he's going to be a 3-and-D guy, a 3-and-D specialist, to Rod, 19 points on 5 of 10 shooting, 2 of
Yeah.
5 3-points. So normally, if you say 19 points, people are going to assume he made 3 or 4 threes. That's just what people are going to think, and that he took 7. But that's not the game that Sadiq Bey's been putting out on film. And now that I'm
Mhm.
sitting here just kind of looking at it more from a basketball mindset, I'm seeing a guy who's an all-around, who's developing into an all-around complete player. 19 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 5 of 10 shooting, 2 of
Mhm.
5 from 3. These are the splits you want. 40% from 3, 50% from the field, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers. He had a block shot, had a couple deflections that led to other people getting some steals. The team actually did pretty well, 8 steals last night. Sadiq Bey, man. Like, when we talk about what these guys are working on, I'm not trying to see Sadiq Bey come out here and be a preseason warrior. You know what I mean? I'm trying to see Sadiq Bey come out here and work on the things that will help his game in the regular season be able to take that next step forward, be
Right.
less predictable, less 1 or 2 dimensional, be a guy who, imagine how effective his pump fake is now when people understand, yeah, he can shoot the 3, but oh man, he can also drive past me. Like, defenses used to close out hard on him. They're gonna have to second guess that now if he's a guy that can also get into the lane and do a few other things than just be a 3-point shooter.
Yeah, I think it was the first 3 that he made in the first quarter. Um, it was he caught it on the wing, pump faked, stepped back like he was gonna drive and like a sidestep and just put it up. And that's what he's going to do to defenses now, because that first step you got to respect. You if he gets in the paint, you know he's kind of big and he's coming at you. But now it's different now. That 3
Yep.
he wants to take. So even if you try to help over, okay, well, I'll just step back. That guy's flying by, and you got to respect that now.
Yep. Yeah. Look, overall, people, we're gonna bring this thing to a close. But overall, what you're seeing from this team, Coach Casey is saying it. Guys are working on specific things. Guys are looking at expanding their games. They're looking at this as expanded training, as an expanded training camp, extended practice. And I believe that, yeah, the regular season may start off with this team trying to find what I'm calling an identity
Hmm.
and chemistry. They got to find their identity, and defense is where it's got to start. And that's why I'm glad that Casey at least acknowledged last night that if there are things to criticize, it's going to be turnovers and it's going to
Hmm.
be defense. You can always criticize those things. That's what he said. He said effort was there, but guys are going to have to be taught a little bit better. And I'm glad that he's clued in on those types of things. They're not just sitting back saying, oh, everything is gravy. Oh, it's just this, it's just that. Like, Rod and I, we've gone through this. For certain players like Cunningham and Sadiq Bey, I'm sorry, there's no aspect of like pure judgment you can do on their games if they have a struggle or something of that nature. You can look at the specific things that they're doing to take some steps forward. Yeah, you would like to see Cunningham finish more effectively in the paint. You would like to see him finish, but he's also working on, they said it, adding, posting up guards and players. This is what we talked about. We're like, we're excited to see what it looks like. It would be asinine of them to come out here and say, hey, no, skip that. Don't work on that. Just go berserk, bro. Get 40 points.
Right.
Hit the game winner. Just go out there and just sauce them all game. Like, no, he's going out there and he's working on things. He's driving to the rack more aggressively than I remember. He's trying to do things that we saw Lou Dort do all night. That strength, that kind of bump you off and then lay it up all night. He was getting that look all night. And Cade Cunningham's coming back and doing the same thing. I believe as he gets stronger and more comfortable, like Lou has shown this over a few seasons now, as Cade Cunningham gets more comfortable, guys, that the way Lou was playing is the way that I believe Cade will be able to have an effect on the game as well, with his driving to the rack and being able to bump people off and things of that nature.
Yep.
Does that cover everything?
Yeah, that's it for me. I was going back to the Sadiq thing, and you caught it for me. So yeah, I'm all good.
Yeah, no, Sadiq, I think continue to look at his development, people. We talked about what he could be if it's trending towards that Jaylen Brown type of a player where he can give you a little bit of everything and some, despite the 3-pointers being there or not. That's something to be excited about with Sadiq Bey as he's entering year 3. Killian Hayes, Isaiah Stewart. Let us know what you guys are looking forward to seeing from these guys in the final preseason game, which is tomorrow. And stay tuned, man. Look, guys, I'm trying to see you all down at Little Caesars Arena for the home opener against the Orlando Magic. Get your tickets. Get into the arena. Come and check us out. You guys know, hit us up on socials and whatnot. But let us know what you guys are thinking about as it relates to tomorrow's game. Please don't tell me that you guys are looking too hard into this, but I do want to get your basketball mind of it, your basketball eye of it. Let me know some specific things that you're trying to look at from these players, from Killian Hayes. Is it his aggressiveness? Is it his playmaking? Is it his 3-pointing? Pick some specific things. Put it in the comments, man. We're going to have some fun with it tomorrow, and we're going to rap about it next week. But, hey, for Mr. Everything, Jeff Freddy, he's going to be back with us next week. We got to get this drum roll. But I'm Detroit Kool-Aid for Woodward Pistons, and for the legend, hey, yo, Detroit News Rod Beard. Bro, thank you for locking down the hour with me, man. I appreciate it as always. It was fun. And shout out to the Pistons as well and the PR staff again.
Anytime, man. Appreciate it.
Sir. Hey, we're out.